Hey, mamas, welcome back to another episode. I'm so excited to bring on a guest today who is a brilliant entrepreneur and a mom, and also my friend. And I really can't wait for you to get to know her. She's going to share an amazing amount of wisdom with us when it comes to getting your programs and your offers completely sold out in a unique way. So I'm just going to let you introduce yourself. Beth, thank you so much for coming and tell everybody who you are, what you do, where you're from, all the things.
Hey, what? I'm so happy to be with you today. If you can't tell from my accent, I'm in Jersey.
Yes,
Jersey
you are.
girl, born and bred. Lots of energy, lots of straight talk, and lots of telling you like it is. What I do is, like you said, I really help people fill their programs and book out their clients in a unique way, which is actually just you being you. You showing up in the places that you need to be so that your audience can hear you, see you, and fall in love with who you actually are. I
I
know
love
I know it's like, "Oh my god, it's like magic," but it is because what do we always say? People know, like, and trust you. They'll buy from you. So when they have to be able to see you to be able to
mhm.
do.
Yes. And that's so important to build that know, like, and trust factor. And really, that's the missing thing for so many of our businesses. So, what is the avenues that you use and teach to do this? Because it's not just show up on Instagram.
No, it part of it is, yes, it is showing up on Instagram, but it's showing up on your local TV, your favorite national talk show, that podcast that you've listened to for years and years and always wanted to be on. Lonnie's podcast, Lonnie's Instagram, your best friend's Instagram, any Instagram that you know, but being live and making sure that there's a platform of people that are watching you. Too often, Lonnie, I see people who are on platforms that don't matter to them. If your
Mhm.
ideal client is not watching ABC TV, then you should not be on ABC TV. But if your client is listening to the amazing Lonnie Jackson podcast and on her Instagram and her amazing Facebook group, then yeah, you should be on all those platforms telling people how you are the solution to their problem.
I'm so excited that we're talking about this because I feel like people can kind of wrap their heads around being on a podcast, kind of wrap around being maybe live. That's the next step of like nervousness. But TV is scary. Like I've never been on a TV segment, and that's something that someone brought up a couple weeks ago to me, even before we had this conversation. I was like, I don't know what I would even talk about. But I know like people are watching TV. So how do you help people like determine what to do and how to even get on there, how to use that opportunity to sell out their programs.
It really goes along with their goals and what kind of people they're looking for. TV is amazing for credibility, for widespread knowledge, and if you're trying to create, the foundation for a product, I
Mm,
think TV is amazing, right? What are you gonna go on and talk about there? If you sell nail I have nail polish in my hands. If you sell nail polish, they have to see you. You being on a podcast or in a magazine article, they're not gonna see the nail polish. But if you're, a business coach, then I want you to be on the podcast that your clients are listening to while they're on the treadmill, when they're picking their kids up from school. So I want you to think about where your audience is how you show up. But I have to tell you, Lonnie, that a lot of people think about TV as a little bit scary. It's honestly my favorite thing to be.
I
So if
love
you
that.
can be on a stage, if you could be live on Instagram, you can be on TV. And TV builds this like this air of exclusivity and celebrity, and people do look at you differently when you're on TV, and it doesn't need to be national TV. My first TV experience was actually at my town's high school. They have a multi-million dollar TV station within their high school, and I used to go make dinner, like, literally make dinner with these hosts. It was like that Saturday Night Live show, a
Okay.
skit. Like, that's what it felt like, and that's what it was, but being I think the piece that people get nervous of is, like, what's it gonna feel like? It feels
Sure.
like you're in a room with people who want you to succeed. That's what TV feels like. I was recently on the Sherry Shepherd show, and I hadn't been on TV in a long time, I hadn't really been on stage in a long time, and on my way there, I got, like, sick to my stomach, nervous, and I had to stop myself, be like, "You love this, like, what is wrong with you? Why are you being nervous about this?" And as soon as I walked in that studio and I smelled that there's, like, a scent that's in a studio, and I saw the cameras, and I saw the people and I met the producer and she was like, "We're gonna have a great time. This is gonna be so much fun. I'm so excited for you." Everybody wants you to win when you do that, so you just feel like a winner. You know, I had just actually DM'd with somebody that I know who does a New York TV show, and she texted me back, "Hey, we haven't had you on. You should be on." And my response was like, "Hell yeah, you should have me on." To myself, I didn't say that to her. I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to be on. Thank you so much for the opportunity. That's so nice of you." And but that's the kind of things that I want to have happen for your audience. Everyone that's listen up. Everyone listening now. Everyone that's listening to this broadcast knows somebody that has a platform that has your ideal client already watching, listening, or reading. So I want you to make a list. Like, don't don't put down your phone or turn it off, but make a list of 3 people that you could DM when you finish listening to this that you could then get on their podcast. If you know Lonnie, you could DM her too. But but there's somebody you know. I think that it's the real crux of it, Lonnie, is that people hold themselves back from
Mhm.
scary things, and my whole message is about doing the scary things, about being brave and doing those little things that make the needle in your business move in a huge way.
So amazing. I am over here shaking my head. Yes, yes, yes. So awesome. And I love that you are challenging them to go and make a list. You know, someone, there is someone within
Totally.
your space already that can be an opportunity for you to get in front of their audience. So the next question I know my audience is going to ask is, all right, I made my list. What do I do now? Because reaching out to them feels like, well, why would they want me on their platform? How do I stand out? How do I get them to say, like, you just got this invitation, like, we absolutely have to have you on the pod, like the event again, the TV show. How do I get that? Absolutely, yes, easy. And how do I position myself to make it like worth their time and them sharing their audience?
Well, first thing I'm gonna address is that you said, "Why me?" And my question is, why not you? Don't you
Right?
have something to say? Like, if you have a business, you have something to say. If you don't have something to say, you have a bigger problem than getting on a podcast, right? So let's
That is
talk
very
about
true.
the why not you. You wanna make an impact on people's lives? Great. What do you wanna make an impact with? It's all about serving their audience. So if you DM'd somebody, a friend of yours, because you wanna be on their podcast, this is what I want you to say. "Hey, I really love your podcast. The episode." Okay, let's pretend it's Lonnie. "Hey, Lonnie, I really love your podcast. I just listened to the episode you did with Beth. It was amazing. I learned how why not me? But you know what? I realized that you don't talk about nail polish. I'd love to come on and talk about why nail polish is so important to do on your toes. Let's have a conversation about it. Talk to you soon. X." Like, we all make it much too difficult. We all make it like it means it's not a big thing. Like, when people start working with me, they realize that they've made this media and exposure and visibility this huge thing. It's actually not. It's actually this little tiny thing that's just about relationships. It's just about
Yes.
relationships, having a good idea, and having the balls to tell the world what it is. Because if you don't have those things, get a job. Like, I'm serious, Lonnie. Like, if you
Yeah,
can't do that, you're in the wrong business and you're banging your head against the wall. Because to be successful in what we do, you need to have something to say and you need to go beyond your fears to say it. There's this saying that I once learned that it says, the real talent is sorry, I'm gonna say it backwards. The way to success is actually taking your talent through the fear and into the light.
ooh, that's really
Hi, good
good.
one.
That's a really good one. I really just want to jump on the fact that you said if we are not willing to get out there and be scared and to say, I have something to say and it's valuable to say it, no matter whose audience it is, then we're never going to sell out our programs. We're going to
Nope.
minimize our voice. And maybe that's what we're doing. And maybe that's
Yeah.
why this is so scary to you because you're already in a minimizing of your voice. And it's easy to do. Definitely raising my hand. That's called me out on it. She's like, yeah, I don't see you. It's easy to really focus on like, oh well, I'm just showing up. I'm in my small little bubble. It's safe here. I'll just keep doing what people already have. But really, that isn't going to expand growth. It really is
No,
not.
not at all. Like, look at the people that you would look at us, look at people, of course, they admire us, Lonnie. Look at the people that you admire, like, they take chances. They're messy. They're not perfect. You know what? If you like the ones that are, like, really, really curated and really, really perfect, they're not making as much money as you think they are. They're just not. It's not the way it works.
Yeah.
You know, you can
Oh,
have a bad reputation and make a lot of money, to be completely honest, but if you are just being shiny, no one's gonna resonate with you. So, let's talk about the fear. Like, where does that fear come from? Who told you to be afraid? And why have you not given yourself the permission to not be afraid? Because
so
people ask
good.
me that all the time. They're like, "How are you so confident?" I'm like, "I'm not confident, I just do it anyway." Like, I've been through it. I've been through my it, right? Everyone's been through whatever their it is, they've been through it. You
Mhm.
got through that. That's gonna be a lot scarier than showing up on Instagram. That's gonna be a lot scarier than me going on a podcast and saying, "You know what, guys? If you can't show up, then go get a job." Are you gonna hate me because I say that? You might hate me because it's true, but you might
Mhm.
respect me because I'm telling the truth finally,
Yeah,
and I'm just being myself. And that's
it's
like
true.
that's the foundation. Lonnie, I was on an Instagram I was on a podcast interview recently, and he said to me, like, "Who don't you wanna work with?" A question I've never gotten, and after I answered it, I was like, "Wow, that was, like, really real." Like, I got really real, and I told what I said was, "If you're a victim, you're not my person." Like,
Mm.
you know, you can be scared and you can ask, "Why me?" But if you think the world is out to get you, I'm not your person. I'm just not. And told that to my group, and they were like, "Yes, you are so right, Beth. That is not your person." And that's okay. Not everyone's going to be my person. My person is the person that wants to be, that's scared, that has trouble getting out of their own way, but knows that they're meant for something bigger and wants somebody like me to help them be beyond their comfort zone so they can get to the next level. I have somebody that does that for me. Lonnie, honestly, you do that for me all the time when we talk. Like, we
Yeah.
all need somebody who's gonna be like, "I see you, and it's okay to be scared, but I'm gonna help you do this, or I'm gonna make you do this, or I'm gonna push you to do this." Um, Being on national TV is not hard. It's just as hard as getting out of bed if you're sick and being on a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. It really is. We have defined given it a rating rank and on the fear level. And I was reminded when you said you've done other things, like you've already done the hard stuff, you've already done the scary things, and TV is not the scary when we're related to other things. It always reminds, anytime something like that comes up, it reminds me the fact like I adopted 3 kids.
Yeah.
And like the scariness of that process and like with foster care, are these children going to be taken away from me at any moment? Are they going to go to other family? Are they going like what's happening? I was for renewing them with their mom, but also I wanted to protect them. It's just like there's so many emotions, and like that time in my life, I had no control over that. Getting on TV, that and like standing up in front of a crowd. I haven't been on TV, but I've definitely stood in front of the big crowds. And then it's like I'll turn red and I just laugh at myself because I get like red high. I mean, right now, if you can see it on camera, like I've got
I've
red hives
I've seen it in
because
person, guys. It does
my
happen.
blood pressure goes up and that's how it comes out. And I'm just like, this is me. It's not embarrassing the fact that I have a body and it's white and it shows all my emotions all the time.
No, I wanna
You
throw
know?
up every time I do like, every time I do TV. Even when I was doing TV for my kitchen over the pandemic, I always wanted to throw up 5 minutes beforehand, or I'd wake up in the morning thinking how I could get out of it. Like, but,
Mhm.
I don't know if you knew this, Lottie, but I used to work in TV, like, actually work in TV. I
Yes.
worked at The Tonight Show, I worked at MTV, and I remember being backstage at The Tonight Show and A-list celebrities coming off and asking a 20-year-old girl if they did okay.
Yeah.
Like, we're all human. You think that people that go on the Oscars or present or have to read off a teleprompter in front of 30 million people without their glasses on aren't nervous? You know,
Mhm.
I think of it this way. Shawn Mendes, he comes to mind, Selena Gomez, like all those huge people take time off of social media because they need a rest, right? Because they need some time to collect themselves and figure out who they are again.
Mhm.
So, you think that those people don't have problems or they're not anxious? You know, this is this is called work is the other piece of it. And the reason I say that is because Fran Drescher just came out the other day. She's the head of SAG, sh the all the actors union,
Mhm.
and she was talking about a photo that she had taken with Kim Kardashian, and there was a lot of controversy around it, but her answer to that was, "I was working. Do you think I don't wanna be home in bed with my husband and my kids? Like, do you think Kim doesn't wanna be home in Malibu with her children? They're working." So, when you don't do the stuff that needs to be done to help you work at a higher level and get paid what you really are worth, I think it's a different point of view, and I wanted to bring it up because I think we look at our small businesses as our I don't know, our babies or our creation, but it's actually the job we've created for ourselves. So when you look at it
Mhm.
as work and outside ourselves, and there's one thing we do for ourselves and there's one thing we do for our jobs, then maybe showing up in your job might be easier with the knowledge that it's work, that I'm okay to be a mess, that everyone else is a mess too. But I want you to remember when you get to that point, it's about why not me?
It's powerful. I don't really need to even add much more to that because it's true. We need to stop playing small. And if you're sitting over here thinking, well, I wish I could do that, that sounds nice for you, and you're minimizing it and you're dismissing it and you're talking yourself out of it already, then you're going to keep yourself small.
And why?
Yeah,
'Cause somebody
sure.
told you you were small when you were 7? Like, it's really all comes back to trauma when we were little, but it's
Hmm.
also about changing the story. Let's put it
Yes.
this way, I think about the things that happen in our lives, you can make happen one way or another. Lonnie and I were together, and I said, "Hey, Lonnie, come sit with me." If Lonnie said to me, "I can't, I'm sitting over here," does that mean Lonnie doesn't like me? Maybe. No, I'm joking. Does that mean I'm not good enough to be in Lonnie's presence? Does that mean I suck? Does that mean I could make it mean anything,
Sure.
but what it actually means is Lonnie didn't sit with me, right? So we can take all the stories that we create, that we put in front of ourselves off the table. I've talked to a lot of people who parents have left, drugs, divorces, like the stories that we make from the trauma in our lives can go either way. So let's decide today, everyone listening, let's decide today that we're going to change the storyline. We're going to change the narrative from I can't and I don't know how to I can, why not, and I will. And when you can wake up with that persona, you can make anything happen. We are not our thoughts is a big thing in mental health right now, but I think we are our positive thoughts,
Yeah.
right? Our negative thoughts are going to keep us down. Our positive thoughts are going to take us up. So decide what that positive thought could be. You can take mine. Why not me? I'm going to be brave till 11. Something I always say to my clients is like, okay, let's be brave till 11:30. And then 11:30, we'll decide if we're gonna be brave or we're gonna climb back into bed. 9 times out of 10, we continue to be brave. Whatever your moniker is, but decide what that goal is. Is that goal that you're gonna have 3 sales calls this week? Great, let's be brave for 3 sales calls this week. I just feel like, Lonnie, it's such a shame that so many women do minimize themselves because somebody says boo to them when they were 7.
Yep.
I remember my 5th grade teacher didn't said something to me about wearing Adidas shorts. Like, he was like, "Oh, I didn't know that you would wear those kind of shorts," and I took that to mean that I was fat, that I was
Mm.
too right? Uh, so I had definitely eating stuff when I was a teenager, but I learned that that was a story that I created off of something somebody else has said. So
Sure.
changing that story allows me to go on national TV with my roots not done, weighing 10 pounds more than I want to weigh and a pimple on my cheek, right? Or allows me to climb out of bed when I have COVID and be on a podcast and turn it on for my friend. But what I want everyone to really learn is that they can do this. This is not hard. This is all a mental game. And when we can win a little bit of the mental game, that's when we see success. And we see success with support like women like Lonnie.
Yeah, we do. And
Pull it back
and
to
yeah,
Lonnie.
yeah, thank you. But what you do is when you need that cheerleader in your corner and when you're ready to like, okay, I'm just really need to push myself. You might need someone in your corner to say, all right, I'm gonna be here with you and I'm gonna push you. And when you try to turn around, I'm gonna turn you back around and say, no, we're gonna do this. And that's where you do maybe need to put people into your life to have a Beth who's telling you, no, we're gonna do it scared. You're worth it. Here's your story. Let's clarify it. Let's not be, generic. Let's be unique. Let's tell your story. I've heard you say a lot when in our time together, talking about how powerful our stories are and how
Oh,
people
yeah.
don't talk about their stories and why we need to say them over and over and over again and not be afraid to share the same story every single time you talk. And if we can bring people into our life to help us, then do it. If you want this, then do that. Otherwise, get out there and do it yourself because you can do it by yourself. You did so much of the success that you had all by yourself without mentors and coaches at first. And then, you put people into place to help you. Somebody can start there, but you can also jump the gun and get the support too. So, like, it's all up to you whether or not you want to sit on your butt and say, I wish someone would invite me on their podcast, or you can say, "Hi, can I sit with you and can we go live?"
Yeah, 100%. To be completely honest, I wish I had hired that coach when I
Yeah.
didn't have the money.
Oh, yeah.
I remember this had to be 2008 or 9. So I started in 2007. And there's this woman named Jen Scalia who's still around. She's amazing. And she had offered me, it was like $1,500 for the year or something. And I was like, I don't have 1,500. How can I invest 1,500? If I had only done that, I don't know where I would be in my business. I really don't. But I want to touch on what you said as well. If you're listening, how many stories did I tell you about me? Right? How much do you know about my heart and who I am and what my point of view is just listening to this podcast?
Yeah.
And I do that intentionally because I want you to know who I am because I stand for you and I stand for you being successful. So it's not about like, this is what I'm about and this is what I stand for. It's weaving in who you are with the stories that make you who you are and telling those stories. 10 years ago, will I told a story about how my fifth grade teacher called me fat? Probably not. But today I do because I've worked through it. But, you know, I think a lot of times we want to keep our trauma in and what you and I do and what we've all collectively decided to do is actually personal development. That's
Yes.
all it is. It's personal development with a subject matter.
Yes.
That's what it is. So if you can develop, then you'll be successful. If you are going to be stagnant and stay where you are and gets caught in your ego, you won't. And that's why showing up on TV and showing up on podcasts or showing up on a stage or showing up on a live is about connecting who you are to what you do. I've the stories about me being on Dr. Oz and pausing my opt-in so that when I got back to my business, I had not gathered any email from anyone that came to my website from the exposure I had at Dr. Oz. I know it hurts a little. I know, I can see your face. Right, that hurts a little. I hope everyone listening like, "Oh, that's awful." Right, but that story makes you feel something and connects you to be like, "Oh, Beth made that huge mistake. She knows how to fix it. I'm gonna go talk to Beth about exposure and visibility and understanding how to get my stories across so that people wanna come by me." Because one of the things that happens, I think, especially on podcasts, is that people go on and be shiny, and
Hmm.
they don't get people from the podcast DMing them.
No.
I know I'm gonna get podcast DMs from this one. "Beth, I listened to you on Lonnie's podcast. I really love the part about X." Like,
Yes.
that's done intentionally, but it's also done with heart because I wanna share what that is, and I wanna share what we're doing. I think that people often get and like in the beginning I did, I got so wrapped up in like, "Look what I've accomplished and look what I've done. I don't need that kind of stuff." Only I
Hmm.
did.
Yeah.
And I needed a support system and I needed a community. In 2010, I didn't know there was communities to be a part of. I wish I known there was a communities and masterminds. I don't know, maybe there weren't masterminds yet in 2010. But I
They're
wish
probably
I
called
had
something
that kind
different.
of support, right? Like I know with my clients, they come to me, at one level in their business and they leave me at a totally different level because I want you to succeed and be able to do this stuff without me. I want to teach you what you need to know and then move on and move up. I actually got an email today from a client who's got 7 new hits this month because of
Wow.
what we were doing together, and
That's
that's because she
amazing.
was being consistent and she was selling it out, sending it out, and also willing to tell the story of what it was like to be an immigrant and start a business in the language that she didn't grow up with, and how
Yeah.
hard that was. And what I said to her was, now you're going to get to inspire other women from Latin countries that want to start a business here and do it in English because you did it.
So
Like,
powerful.
but that's real life, guys. Like, that's actually what we're all about. Yes, I'm about teaching you exposure and all that other stuff, but what I'm about is helping my clients support other people and make an impact on lives. So I made an impact on her life and her family, and now she's gonna make an impact on so many more people's lives.
It's a ripple effect. It really is. And how much of a disservice are you doing by staying quiet?
Mm.
That's another
Yeah,
way
Dean
to just
Graziano. I love it.
I mean, really, we are. If we aren't out there sharing our stories, if we aren't sharing our journey and the knowledge that we have, we're we're actually the mean girls.
Ooh, I kinda like being a mean girls. No, I'm joking. I watched New York Housewives. You know, when I'm quiet, like, I was really quiet this summer. My 2 kids are in college, and now they're, like, big in college, like, they don't come home all the time. So, this summer, I wanted to spend time with them versus working in my business, but you know what? This quarter, now I'm paying for it. I don't have the kind of, exposure that I normally have over the summer. I don't have the kind of traffic that I normally have over the summer, but I made that choice to spend the time with my kids and
Sure.
to understand how my income was gonna be different this quarter than it was last quarter, and guess what?
Yep.
That's okay because I have a plan,
Yeah.
and I know what
Yeah,
I'm
you do.
doing, and it was intentional. But now you're gonna see me everywhere because I have, like, 10 podcasts pitched. I've booked for the next 3 months, and I'm gonna be on TV. I'm gonna send that my friend a pitch, about 0 alcohol. I'm gonna do a whole segment on that. But that's because I have a plan for what I want next, and the way that I have a plan is I met with my coach, freaked out on her, and we sat down and we created a whole plan for me to be doing.
Yeah.
I pulled in I have a productivity coach. I don't know if you ever heard of that, Lonnie?
Yes, absolutely.
I called her up. Who calls anybody anymore? I Instagrammed her up and I was like, "Chelsea," her name's Chelsea Wesman. "Chelsea, I need you. I need a new workflow. I need to sit down with you and do my tasks and, because I'm working on new projects and I need a new project system." And she wrote, "Great," and sent me an invoice. Like, but I know that for what I wanna but I'm planning for 4th quarter, 1st and 2nd quarter, I need that kind of support, and if I didn't have
Yes.
that kind of support because that's not my wheelhouse. I'm a visionary, so I need other people to be operations. I need other people to be systems, and I need other people, like my assistant, to keep me on track so that I can accomplish the things that my vision told me that I should, and that I can, and that my heart told me I can. So,
Mhm.
people always talk about a team, and I wanna talk about that because I know a lot of your clients don't have a team yet.
Yeah,
But I want them to understand that if you know that you are not good at a particular piece of what we do, it's okay to get support.
it
Watch
is.
a million YouTube channels, right? Or YouTube videos. Don't sign up for a million lead magnets because they never give
No.
you any, right? Sign up for one-offs for people because if you do that, you will be able to afford to work with them. I you know, to be completely honest, because we have been so far, I have a coach who I can't afford. She's a huge, huge, huge coach. But guess what? I can see how I'm gonna make my money back in the next 6 months from working with her.
Right.
That's an
And
important
that's
piece of it.
exactly. And I think what you just pointed out is sometimes we have to have the belief that by spending the money now, we are going to triple and quadruple and
Oh,
10x
yeah.
our investment. I just talked to someone last night who is considering joining the Power Profit More. And she's like, all right, I'm trying to figure out if I can afford it every month for the next 6 months. I was like, you don't need to afford it every month for the next 6 months right now. You just need to pay the first payment. We're going to get you to where it is your income is going to go up. Let's have that expectation that by putting money down, there's going to be a change in what's coming back. So if you're scared about, oh, I don't know how I'm going to be doing like this long-term program, if you believe that they really can help you get to where you want to go, stop trying to figure out 6 months from now and step forward today. I think that's the same thing you have
Yes.
to do with the pitch.
Preach.
Yeah.
Preach, Lottie,
Yeah,
preach.
girl.
No, but that brings up for me, like, so if you're thinking of working with somebody other than Lonnie, do not. You have to work with Lonnie. But
Thank
the reason I send people to Lonnie all the time because Lonnie is financially focused.
you. Mhm.
She wants you to make money. So many times I hear from people, coaches, friends of mine who are who are making multiple 6, 7 figures. They're like, I just blew 20 grand on that coach. That coach offered me this. She didn't even know. I won't even go into how coaches who you think are these big coaches don't even answer emails,
Right.
say things they're gonna do things, but I digress. If you are gonna work with a coach, especially when you are starting out, that coach needs to be focused on you making money,
Mhm.
not having a pretty website or figure out your messaging or getting your head on straight. That's a piece of it. But if they are not, hey, you and I are going to do this because you are going to make this money. If you are consistent and do the work, great. Because when you're starting out, you need that income so that you can then, in a year or so, hire a VA, hire a team, have the luxury of having a productivity coach. But that's one of the things I really appreciate about Lonnie is what you do, because I'm the same way. Like PR does not make money, but what you do with PR does.
Exactly. Exactly. Don't just get on, and this is, I think we can wrap up a little bit with this. Like, don't just go get on TV just to get on TV.
Right.
Don't don't just get on a podcast just because oh well, Beth and Lonnie just said get on a podcast, so I'm gonna go be on a podcast. That doesn't change anything in your income. Be confident in the thing that you have to offer and make the offer, because talking just for the sake of fame does, like, people viral all the time and get TikTok famous or Instagram famous. They make $0, guys. They've just made like millions and millions of views and they have nothing to show for it. So don't just go pitch yourself to Good Morning America because, oh, I have to be on TV. Have a product that you believe in that is getting results that can change people's lives, and then bring that, because that is going to be the impact that comes from exposing your genius and your story to a wide audience on a platform that never been on before.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah, it just makes sense,
Yeah.
right? Where are you gonna make money? We're so I did too when I first started out. I was so like my website looked great. My graphics were great. I spent hours and hours and hours. And now I spend hours and hours and hours on things that are making me money. Sales,
Like,
sales, and sales. Like,
exactly. I know. That's why I'm barely in Canva. I was in it
right.
today for a minute and I
Leave
was
it a
like,
little bit left.
I don't belong here anymore. This does
Maybe when
not
I'm
work.
watching TV at night, sometimes I
Yeah.
do like to create things, but I said if you go on a podcast without a plan of how you're selling your
Oh, yeah.
products, it's like getting behind the wheel of a car and not having a license. That's
Or
just what it's like.
or knowing where you're going.
Or knowing without having MapQuest.
Yeah.
Wait, that dates me. Without having Nav.
Google Maps, Waze. Yeah, it's like going to that new city and getting off the airplane and be like, "All right, I'm here now. I have no idea where." Like, just start driving. You'll eventually get there. That's not how it works.
Ooh, I
So,
like that one, Lonnie. You're gonna see that on my social.
yeah, girl, use it. All right. So, I just want to recap because this has really been so good, and I think it's challenging. And I bet you we got under people's skin today, and we're kind of getting some thoughts going. So, number one, use PR, media, podcasts, TV for exposing your story and your offer for sales. Like, have a plan. Number two, make a list of the people, three people you know, or in your space, in your world, or are removed 1 degree. I also, little side note, I went to somebody and said, "Hey, could you give me an introduction to so and so? Because I would love to be on their podcast and you're best friends with her." And
Nice.
she
Nice.
did a, "Hey, you should have my friend Lonnie on." And I'm like, so I'm gonna be asking about, "Hey, would you connect me to anybody who you think I should be on their podcast or a show?"
100%.
Because if you know somebody who has a connection, use it. And then what's the third thing that you would tell them after they make their list? So they have an offer, they're ready to share their story, they made their list. What's the third thing that you would tell them?
Ask for what they want.
Ask for what they want.
Ask for what they
Go
want.
send it out. So it's simple as that. This is like the easiest step podcast, but what it takes is action.
That's all this takes is doing.
Doing. Doing.
Doing. Like, if you're not doing, go get a job. I say go get a job more often than not
Yeah.
because it's a waste of time. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of everything if you're not going to be in action. If you're going to sit there, and I'm very happy for you if you can waste 10 grand. Great. I'm very happy for you. But I don't want you to waste 10 grand.
No.
Just because you can. I want you to do the things that you were put on this earth meant to do.
Yeah.
Like those dreams, those conversations that you have, that you talk about things and, well, I really want to make this with my business and I want to do this and I want to do that. If it's not just talk and you can actually stand for something, it's just about doing.
Yeah.
So if you do something, not I take it back, when you do something because you've been inspired and educated and motivated from this podcast, please put it on social media. Please tag Lonnie and I, and we will reshare it on our own socials, which is
Absolutely.
exposure, by the way,
Yeah.
because we're proud of you because we are all in this together. Whether we know you or not, whether you work with us or not,
Yes.
we are all in this together.
Absolutely, and go put it in the Brilliant Mompreneur Society. It's open
Yeah,
posting in there.
yeah.
There's a thread every week for you to share your voice. Like if you did anything that has to do with your voice, a podcast, YouTube channel, anything where your voice was heard, we want you to share your links there. Like I did it on purpose so we could all share each other. We're in this together. Tag
Yes.
Beth, tag me. Beth, tell us if they are like, all right, Beth, you've got me convinced and I need your help. How can they get in contact with you? What are the things that you have on for to support them, to help them? Tell us all the things about how they can come inundate you with all their needs.
The easiest place to go find me is go to my Instagram. It's at Beth Nydick. Don't forget to like, and then you can find all the information in the link in bio. And I look forward to hearing from you. You know, if you liked something I said and just want to connect, I'm open to DMs. But go to that link in bio and say hi.
Yeah, absolutely. Go follow her. She's also really fun to listen to, her awesome
Oh.
accent and just tell you like it is. And I love it. So thank you for listening and
Thank
appreciate
you.
you. We're really, really wanting to make this a challenge today to light a fire under your butt to go do something. Stop waiting for the person to come to you and be like, oh, would you like to be on TV? You go to them. Go to them. Get ready and go to them. Take the action. So we'll see you next week on another episode. Again, thank you for joining us. Go follow Beth, and we'll see you next week.
Bye bye.